Now, the U.S. has accused Huawei Technologies' the chief financial officer, Meng, of covering up her company's links to a firm that tried to sell equipment to Iran despite sanctions. A decision on Meng Wanzhou's extradition to the U.S. has been adjourned by Canadian prosecutors until Monday. The case against Wanzhou, who is also the daughter of Huawei's founder, stems from a 2013 report about our company's close ties to a Hong Kong-based company which attempted to sell U.S. equipment to Iran despite the U.S. and the European Union's bans. If extradited to the U.S., Meng would face charges of conspiracy to defraud multiple financial institutions with a maximum sentence of 30 years for each charge. The 46-year-old CFO was arrested in Vancouver, Canada, on the 1st of December. At the request of the U.S., the ordeal represents the latest flashpoint between China and the U.S. and comes amid a protracted trade war that has unsettled the global economy already. Fears that her arrest would undermine talks between the U.S. and China to end the trade war have already taken a toll on financial markets around the world. And now we have Walter Anderson, author and academician, joining us live from New Delhi to understand that story a little better. Mr. Anderson, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on World is One. Now, while China is demanding Meng Wanzhou's release, talk to us in terms of how this issue will affect the relations that are already under pressure due to the trade war and other reasons not to mention.
Depends on what happens to the lady in question. But my guess is that they're going to try to work this out in some amicable fashion. Now, the U.S. has long had a problem with Huawei, as has India, as a matter of fact, because of its alleged links to the Chinese military. But this issue didn't have anything to do with that. This issue had to do with sales of Huawei to Iran in contravention to the sanctions on Iran. But here again, you know, you say a trade war. It's not a trade war. It hasn't been for at least a couple of weeks, if ever. There have been, you know, threats of tariffs, and some tariffs have been installed. But in fact, the two countries and economies are so large that they have always chatted with each other. Now, I was in the State Department bureaucracy long enough to know that public statements aren't necessarily reflected by what's happening inside. And given the importance of the trade relations of India and China, of the U.S. and China, my guess is that they have, you know, been having ongoing conversations, including the important conversations between Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump in Argentina, where apparently they worked out some kind of agreement. And if I had to make a guess, they will in this case as well.
All right, Mr. Anderson, we do understand that her arrest is due to the violation of Iran's sanctions. So do you, concur with that? If it wasn't for that, what could be the other reasons that are surrounding this development?
I think that probably is the reason. And because of the sanctions, anybody that violates it is subject to certain penalties. And Huawei apparently has sold to Iran highly technical material. Whether that is going to be, something that's going to be lasting, my own personal view is, because obviously no one, knows right now, is that it will not be, that they'll work out something, some face-saving device, some face-saving, way to get around that, because the trade between these two countries is too important.
Walter Anderson there joining us with that perspective. Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for taking time out to be with us here on World is One. Now, let's break this down for you. First, what is Huawei? This Chinese tech company has become a popular name overnight. The smartphone seller is based out of Shenzhen in China and also sells telecommunications equipment worldwide. Earlier this year, Huawei became the world's second largest smartphone maker by clocking 52 million shipments, only second to Samsung. China's Huawei sold more phones than US's Apple. Huawei claims to have a reach of 170 countries. Huawei reported a revenue of $47.4 billion in the first half of 2018. This was a 15% period-on-period increase. In short, Huawei is China's Apple. It's the top player in the Chinese tech market. Huawei has been racing to develop 5G technology and is central to Beijing's plan to dominate high-speed wireless internet. Despite its soaring sales, Huawei devices are often seen in a bad light in the international market. US has warned its citizens against using Huawei phones. In fact, government agencies in the US are banned from buying Huawei's equipment. US lawmakers are worried that granting Huawei access to its markets would hamper national security. US claims that Huawei may bring Chinese hackers and spies along with it. A congressional report issued in the year 2017 claimed that Huawei's equipment could, quote-unquote, undermine core US national security interests. What makes matters worse is the fact that the army background of Huawei's founder. Huawei's CEO Ren Zhengfei is former officer of China's People's Liberation Army. Australia, New Zealand and United Kingdom too have kept Huawei equipment out of its 5G networks. Now to the next big question. Who is Meng Wanzhou? Meng is also known as Sabrina Meng and Kathy Meng. She is the daughter of Huawei's founder Ren Zhengfei and is the chief financial officer of Huawei and also the face of the company. Meng is a deputy chairwoman of Huawei's board. Meng is 46 years old. Her first job was at China Construction Bank. Apart from that, 1 year, Meng has spent her entire career serving and subsequently leading her father's organization. In an interview in the year 2013, Meng had said that when she first joined Huawei, her job was to just answer phone calls. Meng rose to prominence in the year 2011 when she was named as a board member of Huawei. It was in March this year that Meng became the vice chairman of the smartphone giant after her father stepped down from the role. The move was seen by analysts as planting Meng in the line of succession. Meng has a master's degree from the Huazhong University of Science and Technology. There are several theories about why Meng does not carry her family's surname. Some Chinese media reports claim that Meng chose or was given her mother's maiden name to avoid attention.